Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
That's
told
great.
me he graduated from the
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here after the spring break. I understand we don't have as much of a big group, but we're delighted to have Professor Zhao here today. So he's a professor and founding dean of the School of Transportation and Logistics at Dalian University of Technology in China. He's been in numerous places. He was a Fulbright scholar at Kennedy School of Government at Harvard. He was a visiting scholar at UT Austin at one point, and he was a research fellow of the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science. He did his PhD in urban transportation planning from University of Tokyo, which, as you probably know, is one of the top university in Japan. He's going to talk today about transportation infrastructure development under rapid motorization in China, which I think it's very relevant to the topics that we're dealing with right now. So please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for a nice introduction. It's my great honor to come back. 10 years ago, I visited this campus, and very pleased to be invited to come to NYU again to give you talk on the transportation infrastructure development and the rapid modernization in China. Actually, last month when I was attending a forum held at jointly hosted by Chinese Ministry of Transportation and also Nepali Ministry of Transportation in Kathmandu, I had the same presentation. So today I want to share almost similar topics with you. Okay. Yeah. Today I'm going to talk about the several points. First, I want to explain the rapid economic growth and motorization since 1978. At that year, we started the open door policy. Everybody know that. And then we show some figures or the plans about the infrastructure development for the past 4 decades. Also the dynamics, the transportation, the evolution of transporting patterns from the goods and from passenger. And then I would like to introduce the national transportation plan for not only the aviation but also the highway and the high-speed railway. Finally, I want to conclude why China achieves the so rapid development in infrastructure sector. Sorry. Many of you know that since 1978, Chinese economic grew very, very quickly. The annual growth rate up to now is about 10%, 10% GDP growth. Although for the past few years we slowed down the speed. Now last year we recorded the 6.5, but this year, last week we just had the People's Congress. The Premier Li Keqiang announced this year's plan is there is a range from 6 point to 6.5. So because of the rapid economic development, so it caused a lot of phenomena like the rapid motorization. By the end of the 2017, the total number of the cars in China already exceeded. What can I say? This one? No. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Here is the number of the cars, 2 million, 200 million cars already. But we have 300 million driver licenses, drivers that mean. So 100 million people are the potential drivers. If they have money and if, they require to drive a car, I think they will buy a car. So we call it 100 million, people in the potential market. Here is the, the GDP growth. Sorry. Uh, the world car ownership, although China increased, so rapidly, but still, compared with other countries, especially in Europe or in here, we still we have a lot of potential. The car ownership of the per 1,000 people is only 114 by the end of the 2016. For the red one is the BRICS, Brazil, India, Russia, South Africa. So their increase speed is, generally speaking, is greater than the world average. Here is the number of the road deaths. Of course, the motorization caused a lot of issues. The first one is congestion, then the safety issue, pollution. This is the figure compared with the road deaths in Japan. The yellow one is Japan. Actually, in Japan, in 1970s, they called it the year of the motorization, the start of motorization. So at that year, about 17,000 people died on road. China, in 2003 or 2004, it exceeded the 100 million people. That means every day, 300 people were dying on road. It's a big number. Although we adopted a lot of issues like we strictly prohibited drinking driving. If you drink alcohol, you are not allowed to drink.
The right scale is for China and the
Yes.
left one is Japan.
Yes, the yellow one is for Japan. Yeah, for that side. The red one is China's.
Right.
China's. So the maximum it was 100,000 people, but now we are a little bit increasing still. Yeah, but the car ownership, again is increasing. So still we have a long way to try to reduce the number of the road death. Of course, it's official statistic. The WHO say its actual number maybe 1.8 times of the official one, but we don't know. Some researchers estimated, they compare the road deaths reported by the hospital and also by the police, by the insurance company. They concluded it probably is 1.8 times the official one. Here is the location of the large cities. This one shows, China, is a huge country, not only in land but also in population. So that's why, the intercity transportation is the big issue in China, because the distance between the cities. For example, here we choose 122 cities with more than 1 million population to calculate the distance from point to point. It's 1,000 kilometers. But in Asia, Japan is only 4,772 kilometers. Korea is very narrow. So that's why in China, we are facing a lot of issues with intercity transport. We need the high-speed rail, aviation, highway, This figure, shows the expressway development in China. We studied the construction of the expressway. Expressway is highway. The toll in China, except the Hainan Island, it's an independent province. All the road, the highway or the expressway, we call it toll expressway. So we started the construction in the year of the 1988. After 30 years, we have almost 136,000 kilometers already. Chinese government always say we are number one in the mileage of the freeway or highways. So
Are these how many lanes? Are these lane miles or the lane kilometers?
just the mileage. Yeah, but we have most of them four lane, 6 lanes. Yeah, four lane, 6 lanes. Yeah. So here a lot of background. For the first 10,000 kilometer, we used 12 years. At that time, we were very, very slow. Of course, a lot of reasons. But after that, every 2 years, we were opening 10,000 kilometers new Torii expressway. So there are different, a lot of reasons. In the year of the 1997, we started the implementation of the National Trunk Highway System plans. Also, in the year of the 1997, the Asian financial crisis broke out. So Chinese government, want to expand the domestic market, to put a lot of money in the road sector. Also, at that year, we passed the road law, allow the government to the company to charge the toll from the private sector. So in the year of the 2005, the State Council, that means the government, approved the National Expressway Network Plan. At that time, it's the first large-scale plan to set a target to development the highway network plan. I think by 120,000 kilometers for the whole country. But actually, that plan was finished, almost finished already. Also, in the year of 2008, everybody knows that another global financial crisis took place. So Chinese government again decided to put a huge money into the transportation sector. This time it's not only the highway, but also high-speed railway. So that's why from this year, the high-speed railway also increased very, very fast. So in the year of the 2013, this plan was almost finished, so they revised this plan. So we expanded the network again. So that's why we are still continue. But in the central area or the coastal area in China, a huge country, coastal area and central area almost finished. But the problem is in the how to construct the expressway in the western part of China because a lot of desert mountain areas. So here is a comparison again with Japan, because I studied and lived in Japan 15 years. That's why I know a lot about Japan. We divided China into 3 regions: eastern region like Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and central region like Wuhan, some areas, the western regions. So if we compare the density, the highway density with Japan, for the eastern region, almost exceeded the level of Japan already. But for the central area, almost same at Japan level. For the western region, it's 30 years, still 30 years behind Japan. So the whole average, China is a whole huge country in the land, so it's almost 25 years behind Japan. So still we have a lot of way, but in the eastern or central region of China, the highway network is almost finished. Here is some photos. Professor mentioned that this is the first 8 lanes from Dalian, my hometown, to Shenyang, the capital city of the Liaoning province. The total mileage is 375 kilometers, the first 8 lanes. This bridge was opened, last year. We call it the Hong Kong, Zhuhai, Macau Bridge. It's 55 kilometers. It's quite new. Next, we are going to talk about the railway development in China. The yellow one is high-speed railway. The red one, the red one is the railway. The rail in this. So by the end of the 2017, we have built 25,000 kilometers of high-speed railway. The speed is about 200 200 kilometers per hour. So most of them are designed at the speed of 300 kilometers per hour in China. So this speed is also very, very fast. So here is the high-speed railway details. Since 2008, we started the construction of the high-speed railway. The high-speed railway routes was opened to the service. So this is the number of the total railway passenger kilometer. For example, by the end of the 2017, 43% actually are conducted by the high-speed railway. So this one is also, I think, interesting. You know, the average trip length for high-speed railway is almost from 300 to 400. So that means, you know, usually in China, if you travel, for example, 2 hours, 3 hours, you will take high-speed railway. For example, several years ago, when the Wuhan to Guangzhou, the high-speed railway was opened, the airplane stopped, almost stopped. Also, for example, from Shenyang, from Dalian to Harbin, there is a 900 kilometer high-speed railway. At that time, there was a lot of airline, but now the airline are reducing, you know, because it's only 3 hours if the speed is 300 kilometers.
Is there a subsidy per passenger that has been as a policy included in the analysis? So, you know, the fare is what?
The fare?
Yeah, the fare.
Generally speaking, you know, of course, the high-speed rail fare is cheaper than.
And how does that meet the cost of operation? Is there a government subsidy to that?
Yeah, it's. I don't know the detail, but
here in the US,
yeah.
it's not because it's losing money. So
yes, but somebody argue, you know, last year there is a professor economist who argued that you know, for high-speed railway we have a huge debt. For the Beijing to Shanghai high-speed railway is good. It's doing quite good because there's huge demand. But for other parts of, you know, the high-speed railway route, we are facing a lot of debt. For example, from the Qinghai to Urumqi, every day only four trains. So it's very hard to pay back the operation cost. So the capital cost, of course, we cannot pay. The government must subsidize, right? Yeah. But again, for the statistical financial data, we don't know that. Usually, the Chinese government don't open that to the public. Okay. Here is the high-speed railway, the vehicles. You know, it's. Oh, sorry. This one is the location of major railway stations in China. Again, it's located in the coast area and the central areas. You know. The aviation, also the domestic aviation route length is continuously growing. So again, that's because of the distance between the cities. You know, it's very, very large. Here is the location of the major airports. Almost every, but again, located, most of the big airports located in the coastal area and central areas. Because of the rapid development of the infrastructure, the transportation patterns changed a lot. For example, for the passenger flow, the passenger kilometer, the modal share for the railway in 1980s was 60%, but now gradually reduced until 32% in 2010. But because of the high-speed railway, it's gradually increasing. So I'm happy with that figure. But the road is increasing, but now a little bit decreasing. The aviation also play very important. So passenger kilometer increasing very, very fast. This is the mode distribution for the goods. Almost the same. The railway is still from 73% in 1980s is reducing to almost 20% in 2017. Meanwhile, but we have some water transportation because heavy with the woods, coal, some transported from the west to east, from the south, north to south. We still use a lot of water. Also some pipelines. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a quick question on the previous slide. Is high-speed rail?
This one?
No, the one for goods.
Okay.
My question is high-speed rail also used for freight?
High-speed rail?
Right. So I know high-speed rail carries passengers.
Yeah.
Carry goods as well?
No. Here is only the rail. That's why, for the passenger is coming back, the share. But for this one, it continuously reducing because the railway, the door-to-door service cannot compete.
You say rail there, you include high-speed rail and standard rail.
Yeah, here we say conventional standard. Not of course high-speed rail don't transport goods.
Right, that's what.
Yeah, probably transport some, how can I say, very light goods maybe, by some logistic, yeah, express goods or something maybe. Here is the international comparison. Though the data are a little bit old, but the railway, for example, for passenger China is 44%, but other countries it's very, very low. Even Japan, Japan is doing very good in the developed country, but still they only have 29% for the passenger transportation. Here's the freight, the goods, China, the roads. America, I think, is here, right? America is still using a lot. Am I correct? I don't know. The data is about 20 years ago. Freight. Yeah.
Are you weighing this by ton miles?
Ton kilometer. Ton kilometers. Yeah. Ton kilometers for the goods and also passenger kilometer for the passenger. Yes. Here is the passenger trip length for different modes. For the rail, it's about 400 kilometers. For the road, it's relatively very, very short. Water and then aviation is this total one. So now the next one, I'm going to explain the national transportation plans for different modes. Again, the major location, the transportation corridor located in the coastal areas, starting from Beijing to Shanghai, Beijing to Harbin, Beijing to, for example, Chengdu, Xi'an, a lot of. So also some routes from starting from Shanghai to Guangzhou. So everybody know that Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen are the four, we say the first layer of the city, first group of cities, big cities. Here is the data a little bit old, but to show the representative corridors for two big ones. One is from Beijing to Shenzhen. It's almost 2,500 kilometers, the total. But the GDP, the GRP or GDP, is very big. Beijing and Shenzhen. Here is Beijing and Shanghai, almost. So those are the major transporting corridors. That's why we built the high-speed railway along those corridors. Here is the national expressway plan. approved in 2004. At that time, we call it 7, 9, 18. 7, that means 7 radical routes starting from Beijing, and the 9 routes from the south to north, and then the 18 from east to west. But again, this plan was almost finished, so in the year of 2013, Chinese government announced another version. It's called, I think it's called 71118. From the south to north, they increased two routes. So the total mileage will be 136,000 kilometers. This is the national expressway, but for the provincial one, still we have some. So it will covering the two populations. Sorry, I think it's 200,000 population. All those cities were connected by the expressway. And then a network containing seven from routes starting from Beijing, 11 from north-south, we call vertical lines, and 18 east-west, horizontal lines. This is the plan. For the high-speed railway plan, initially, Chinese government announced the plan in 2004, but revised in 2008. 2008. Now it's revised again in 2016. For the black one, it's finished already, but for the red one, it's planned. So still, we have a lot of high-speed railway to build. Here is the outline of the national railway network. So the target year will be 6 years later, 2012. 175 kilometers railway network will be built. Among them, the high-speed railway will be 38,000. Now we have 25, I think 25, right? The 38 kilometers of high-speed railway with a speed of over 200 kilometers or more. So this is called 8 and 8. But before it's 4 and 4, so now expanded to 8 and 8. So here, meanwhile, the airport development plan was also announced in two. This is the target year for 2020. Sorry. So the airport, again, the new target is 2025. We will still be planned 136 new airports. Of course, in Beijing, I think this year, we will open another quite new airport for the Beijing capital. We have 3 terminals already, right? But we will build another. Now I think it will be open this year, by the end of this year. And also for the Shanghai and Guangzhou, and then Kunming, Urumqi, they are we say the regional hub connecting the Asia, Southeast Asia, please.
So adding all these additional airports, it seems like the air traffic control is going to be a big issue, right, in the future.
Yeah.
And also at the existing airports, they will have to expand as well to accommodate the additional traffic.
Yeah, but now we have the 234 airport already. So there are another additional 136 new airports are planned. Here is the airport development plan. Yeah. So now the number of the existing airports, 207. So by 2020, so there will be 53 new airports will open to service. So by the end of the 2025, 3 world-class airports will be built. That means the Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. And then the 10 international hubs, like Urumqi, Kunming, those areas were built. Another 29 regional hubs will be developed. So many people say why China is so rapid, so fast in developing so many infrastructures. So last month when I made a presentation in Nepal, I concluded, this is the more personal view, maybe not correct. But first of all, I think we have a very, very powerful central government. The government is very big, very powerful. Yeah, and also the decision making is very short, very quick. I mean, compare with here, maybe with Japan, you discuss, but finally, no results. In Japan, they lost a lot of chances because the decision making bureaucratic system. In China, if the top leader say we will go this way,
I think that slow things down here is the environmental impacts.
Yeah.
That takes a long time.
Yeah, take long. Yeah, I know, but China gradually Chinese cities will argue for that. But now, still, it's very quick. Also, the implementation from the decision making, to the implementation is very, very short. Very short. Of course, a lot of reasons. I will explain it by one. Also, during the 40 years, we are very lucky. We are experiencing the rapid economic growth. The growth rate about 10%. So there's no concern, about the funding. Basically, the funding is, of course, in the 1980s, in beginning of 1980 or 90s, we were still borrowing money from ADB or World Bank. So relatively, I say we had sufficient funding for the infrastructure development. Also, the total the infrastructure, the road and railway sector, the investment is 3.5% of the GDP. It's a huge compared with the developed countries for the same time period. We are very, very high. Also, the transport infrastructure development is a Chinese government think it's a tool to booming the economic growth. So in 1997, in the Asian financial crisis, and also in 2008, the global financial crisis took place. Chinese government not devalue the currency, instead put a lot of money into the road sector and the high-speed railway sector. I think it's successful. And also one of the key factors, many of you are coming from China, you know that the land is owned publicly. We have the rights to use the land, but the ownership is by the government. So if the government say we draw a line, a route, so that the land is no problem. So it's very, very fast.
So land ownership is not private.
No.
You can use the land.
Yeah. So based on the land characteristic, for commercial one, I think you can buy 50 years. For industrial, 60 years.
It's a lease.
For residential, 70 years, basically. So finally, there is a slogan. Everybody knows that in China, if you want to be rich, build the road first. 要想富，先修路. Everybody in China know that. So, the public support the government. So usually the mayor, the local the mayor, they want to do lobby. They want, please open the interchange. Please open a station, a high-speed rail station in our village, for example, in our county or somewhere. So that's why China. For the road, also the high-speed railway infrastructure, they think it's a chance, a tool to boost the local economy.
So what about land use? Land use decisions, how are they made? Are they also centralized? Because if you don't own the land, you
The land is owned public, but actually by the local government. So that the city they are selling they are selling the land, they get the land transfer fee for the infrastructure development. Oh, finally, I would like to stop here, and if you have any questions, please. I'm not good at mathematics, so I don't have so many formulas or models, but okay.
You talked a little bit about national transportation plans.
Yeah.
And that it seems like that mostly focused on intercity
Yeah,
transportation.
yeah.
What about the conversation within
Urban transport is another big issue. In the we say in the big city or mega city like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, we are facing serious congestion, not only for the peak hour but during the daytime. Even in Beijing, I think from until 10 o'clock in the morning it's congested, from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening still congested, because there is a shortage of the infrastructure, transportation infrastructure compared with the demand. So we are still have a long way to build more, good good quality of the urban transportation infrastructure.
So the strategy is to continue the increase of car ownership and build to facilitate.
Yeah, but in some city we rarely, like Shanghai, Beijing, and Tianjin, we adopting a different policy to try to reduce the car ownership. I think in Shanghai was the first city to introduce the Singapore's the quarter system. If you want to buy a car, even you have money, you cannot buy. You must buy the rights to buy the car, the number plate.
I remember seeing a movie a long time ago in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
To own a car, you had to show that you had a parking.
Yeah. Japan is a unique country. You must have in the year of the. Yeah. It's a very, very good point. In Japan, in the figure of the traffic safety, I said in Japan, actually Japan is in the year of the 1970, the cars entered into the family, household. But in the year of the 1958, they had a very clever law, the parking lot law. If you want to buy a car, you must show the certificate. If you don't have a certificate of the parking lot. I have heard that Japan is the only country in the world. Yeah. So that's why in another reason in Japan, they built the metro first, and then they educated the people to travel, to commute by railway, by metro. The lifestyle formed. Even the car, they have a car, but not only for the daily travel, only for the weekends, for leisure. So that's why in the big cities, three metropolitan like Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, everybody travel especially for the employees. Of course, 90% commute by railway, but only during the weekends or for other purposes they use cars.
Question. So there's been recently a lot of initiative from China to adopt electric vehicles, like electric buses and so forth. Does that play into the intercity investments as well? Like how do they?
You mean the EV, for charging facility, for example? Yeah. For intercity, I'm not sure, but I think we are putting a lot of efforts in building the charging facility in the urban areas. Yeah. Yes. But
what about the role of bicycles?
Bicycle?
Bicycle, I remember
2 or 3 years ago, it was a boom.
20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. 30 years ago.
People using bicycles.
Yeah, bicycle.
And they've been replaced by cars.
Yeah. Yes.
Here we are doing the opposite.
Yeah.
The bicycle from itself
Yes.
more than they are
Mm-hmm.
in other places.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so what is there any policies that you think are more effective than others?
Of course, we want the bicycle come back in the city. That's why, I think 2 or 3 years ago, maybe Dr. Jin, you know better than me, there is a boom about the shared bicycle.
Yeah, right.
Shared bicycle, maybe 39, a lot of companies, but now they disappeared. I think.
Mountains of shared bikes.
Yeah, mountains, yeah. Of course, a lot of law issues. Yeah, but it's not for I say the major transportation, but only for the last mile transportation, I think. But in 1980s, everybody, in the big city riding a bicycle. Again, in China, the consciousness is a little bit different from Europe and Japan and here. Still, driving a car is a social status. That's why if you have money, everybody wants to drive a car, drive a luxurious car instead of a small car. So I'm always joking, just like catching a cold. If people don't catch a cold, you say, "Oh, please, today is cold. You should, wear heavy coat." But nobody will listen. You must let him catch the cold. Then he understands the beauty of the medicine. so the, so so in China actually we are still repeating the way, but we want to shorten the bid experience, to shorten that.
Yes, I've been thinking about this question for a while. High-speed rail has been successful in China, but why Americans are not on the railway in terms of passenger transportation?
Mm-hmm.
My So some people argue that it is because U.S. has a lot lower population density,
Mm-hmm.
but even for dense areas like between New York and Boston, well, there is a railway service, but I don't think we will see technological innovation in the near future. Do you have any ideas about or let me put it in another way? How translatable is the Chinese railway model for other countries?
Yeah, it's very difficult. But from my, I don't know much about the USA, but I heard that you stopped the plan, in the Western Coast from San Diego, Los Angeles. But yeah, of course, somebody argue that is about the less population density. But I think another way is the lifestyle. Because I'm sorry to say that America is on the wheel, is a country on the wheel. So everybody, even where I lived in Texas, Austin for 1 year. Even people, having lunch or going, buy a cigarette, they will drive their car. The lifestyle. So even the high-speed railway is there. I doubt they don't. Maybe they use it maybe for once, but not for the daily travel. So that's very very hard to. Of course, the profitability is a big issue. I think. Uh, I don't think China's model can be sometimes can be simply transferred to other countries. Again, the technology is technology, but we the high-speed rail is a system. System. We are not just transfer the technology, or also transfer the system. So for example, the land use or those kind of the factors.
And the role of the central government versus the local
Yeah.
government.
Yeah.
Here we have home rule. Every little town and city and county has its own laws about what you can build there.
Yeah. Also, last year visited, Germany. One of the professors in KAT, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, they argue now in Germany. They argue about whether we adopt the low speed or high speed, because in many countries it's different. Like Korea, Japan, different from China. We are a huge country in the distance, so we need high speed railway. 350 kilometer maybe is suitable for China, but not suitable for other countries. Maybe 200 is good for European countries or for Asian countries. You must consider the cost to trade up the cost and the speed. So that's why in I think in India, Indonesia, they say for Malaysia, they say we don't need high speed 350 kilometers. Yeah. Another reason, we say the value of travel time is still low. You don't need to transport people from this point to that point.
What ratio of the population in China is in cities and out of cities?
Yeah. The urban population, you mean?
Yeah, what is the share of the total population?
Somebody say that 60% are urban population.
60%.
Yeah. Every year is 1%. 1% urbanization rate. That means 14 million people. It's like the Netherlands, where from the rural side to enter into the urban area.
But it's also dependent on how you define urban.
Yeah.
I think the Pearl River Delta they didn't consider it as one urban area until recently.
Yeah. The definition, is sometimes different. But anyway, the generally speaking, every year the urbanization rate is 1% increase. Yeah. So that's why Chinese government must keep the economic growth at 7 or 6, at least 6%, because 1% of economic growth can absorb 1 million labor. Every year we are graduating 7 million the college student every year, 7 million people, totally different from here.
One last question. Any thoughts on Hyperloop technology? Given that there's
for intercity transporting. I think 2 weeks ago in the People's Congress, the annual meeting, I think some experts they say we are developing the 1,000 high-speed railway. But I thought, what kind of people will use that? I don't know, because you cannot, travel is not only the purpose of travel, but also enjoy the scenery. So I don't know.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I came to school.
So we will review a little bit.
Okay.
Once
Yeah. So you will be doing office, right?
Yeah, I'll be available.
So
actually, maybe
you
see
guys
John.
who is the supervisor? Sorry.
Would you mind coming to my office?
Okay.
You got your stuff.
So how's it going? Working hard?
So his meeting will be.
Okay, I'll go back to
Okay. You should, yeah.